All right, now we're going to do a spouse report. Which significant others, children and spouses, are going to become assets, and which ones might become liabilities? We've seen a lot of them. Big week. We saw Ann Romney get some national TV time. Indeed. Michelle Obama was on 60 Minutes.
Barshell.
The Barshell thing.
The Barshell thing.
You know what?
Politico's trying to make Barshell work.
Politico's just trying to
make everything work.
Yeah.
And some things are working.
Yeah.
And some things are definitely working. And
but
we'll see about Barshell,
I don't know.
Well, Billary, of course, is sort of a part of the American vernacular at this point.
Sure.
We'll see if the jury is out not only on Barshell, but on Michelle Obama herself and whether or not she's an asset or not.
I say this about Michelle Obama. She reminds me of Hillary Clinton '92. Which I put in our weekly rankings this week, and an Obama person said, well, what the hell do you mean by that? Took it the wrong way. And I said, you know, there are positives and negatives about being compared to Hillary Clinton circa '92.
Oh, I think
she's opinionated. She's clearly not going to be an easy person to manage.
Right.
But actual American people might find that compelling and might find that refreshing. And I think sometimes the media maybe gets a little too sensitive to an outspoken spouse. And she's clearly going to be an outspoken spouse.
I will say, as I have said before, this is a very sensitive topic, but I think it's one thing to be an outspoken spouse. I think it is another thing, honestly, I do think this, to be an outspoken African-American spouse. I do. I think
you think there's a double standard?
Well, I think there's a huge double standard for African-American candidates. We're already seeing that play out for Obama, but I think for Michelle Obama to be, and I'm not saying this is right, in fact, I think it's wrong, but I think the fact that she's an outspoken African-American spouse will be a problem for the Obama campaign if she turns out to actually be an outspoken spouse. You know, I don't even know necessarily what that means, but it could be.
You know, it's interesting. Her 60 Minutes thing. For 80% of the interview, she was incredibly charming. I thought her little smoking thing when she said, "If any of you out there see him smoking, you call me." And I thought that was very charming, and there was something refreshing about that.
Right.
And then there was that moment where she said, well, you know, when they were asking if you fear for his life, and she said, well, you know, as a black man, he could get shot at a gas station. And as a Washingtonian, I sat there and said, I remember the sniper. It actually didn't matter if you were black, white, Hispanic. Everybody was getting shot if you were at a gas station. It was sort of one of those. And what did she mean? What was that? And I think I knew what she meant, which is saying, you know, you can get shot anywhere, or you know, sometimes anybody in young black America feels that could get. There was clearly other context she wanted to provide there, but that may have not gone across very well.
A couple other spouses. You mentioned Ann Romney with the announcement. Interesting that Mitt Romney included and mentioned his wife of 26 years, the only candidate and the only top candidate in the Republican field.
It's not even a funny joke. It's not even a funny joke anymore.
It is,
the Mormon has the one.
But it's true.
The Mormon has the one wife.
Elizabeth Edwards also strong. You know, if he can bring her out and make her a big part of the campaign, like she was.
But we're hearing whispers that, you know, this whole blogger debacle, that somehow she's been, you know, that she's been on a different side of the consultants on this, and you know, what role has she played in this whole, which was a debacle this week. Then you have Judy Giuliani, who really sort of went effusive about Rudy the Love Man.
Yeah, he's a testosterone machine.
Yeah,
that Rudy man, which of course
in that magazine article.
People who are offended by cross-dressing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, are you offended by cross-dressing?
I'm not offended by cross-dressing.
Actually, I think the number one family surrogate, the most effective one, is going to end up being the person we've not talked about.
Bill Clinton.
Chelsea Clinton. I think that Chelsea Clinton will end up being the thing that softens up Hillary more. When she rolls out that Chelsea's going to be the first lady, that she'll end up being sort of the hostess, should Mrs. Clinton get elected president, that will actually end up, and that Chelsea Clinton will end up being a very, very effective surrogate.
I was talking to a Clinton campaign person yesterday, and look, they need to avoid another Coretta Scott King funeral incident where Hillary and Bill are there together, and there will be situations where they're there together, and he just so dramatically outshines her, whether in sort of a spiritual setting like the Coretta Scott King funeral was, or something else. They need to avoid that.
I think the mother-daughter deal might actually be a more interesting particularly in the primaries, the campaign
and I don't
primaries.
mean this in any disrespect to Chelsea, but her mother, she will not outshine her mother, let's just put it that way.
Well, no.
Not in a political order.